Hello everybody, I thought we'd have a little special video about all things Advent knitting. I absolutely love Advent season. I love to use an Advent calendar and knit on something each day, and if I don't have an Advent calendar, as you'll see with one of the projects, I will use scraps and knit on something each day. I absolutely love it. I've been speaking to a few people and a few people said, oh, I don't know what I'm making yet. So I thought I would put together a little video of 10 Advent patterns that I think are fabulous for the Advent season. So some of them are crochet, some of them are knit. The majority are paid for patterns. There are some free patterns in this collection of patterns that I've gathered. But yes, let's just get on to it. First of all, full disclosure, this is the second time I have filmed this. The first time I'd filmed it, as you all know, at the moment we are making or putting together the Advent boxes, and I had two prototypes sat just here and I completely forgot they were there, and I filmed the episode and then went to edit it and I was like, oh no, look what I've left out. And I did consider thinking nobody will know what they are, but I think people would have cottoned on what they are. So I've had to scrap that first video and start again. Oh my word. All of the patterns I will link below. There is one pattern that is not available yet, so I will guide you to the video where you can find out more about that pattern. I'll talk through how much of the patterns are, if they're free or not free, and let's just get on. So first pattern is a crochet pattern. You all know that crochet is actually my first love. I don't crochet near as much anymore and I miss it such a lot. So this one actually came out last year and I didn't get a chance to make it last year, so it's still on my list. Some of these I've made, some of them I haven't, and well, they're all on my list. I'm still unsure what I'm making for Advent yet, so I'm, getting inspiration myself. But let's just get into it. Pattern number one is the Granny Stripe Cardigan by Hannah at the Cozy Cottage Crochet. This pattern is $7.50. I do know with Hannah you can use her pay hip, and she has a pay what works scheme. So I believe if you go onto Hannah's pay hip account, I will link it in Ravelry, but you can go onto Hannah's pay hip account and have a look at that. But it's a fabulous, fabulous pattern. This is it. Isn't that beautiful? It looks such a gorgeous, gorgeous cardigan, and Advent knitting, scrappy knitting, it's just perfect. So that is pattern number one. Pattern number two is the Advent 2020 sweater. So this came out obviously in 2020 and it's by Helene's Knit House and it is £6. This is beautiful. Sorry, Danny's just sliding past that way so he doesn't come in front of the camera. This is absolutely beautiful. I did see this when the pattern first came out. I didn't have an Advent calendar that year and I didn't have a lot of scraps. So it's been on my list all this time. Are you ready for this one? Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? So I've not made this one, but looking at it, it looks to be a batwing style sweater, and again eyelet rose in there as well, which is just beautiful. I mean, look at that. It is gorgeous. So that is the Advent 2020 sweater by Helene's Knit House. Beautiful. Beautiful. The next one, there are two patterns by the same designer. So they were both by Amber O'Brien. And when I've looked on Ravelry, there appears to be a Ravelry group as well available. So if you're somebody that likes to follow along in a Ravelry group, then this one would be a really great one. So the first one I'm going to show you is a throw. Now, I've not seen this one. I only spotted this when I was looking for the second one that I'm going to show you, which is the Radvent cardigan. But I came across the Radvent throw as well. So the Radvent throw is $7. And we all love a throw. Who doesn't love a throw? Are you ready? Look at this. Isn't it beautiful? I really, really like that. So that is the Radvent throw by Amber O'Brien, and it just looks amazing. So that is pattern number 3. Because it's the same designer, we'll move straight into pattern number 4, which is the Radvent cardigan. This one is $8. Now, I haven't made this one, but I've seen it made by quite a few podcasters, especially last year. This, I think, was one of the go-to patterns last year, and it is beautiful. So this is the Radvent cardigan. Now, I believe it's like a short style cardigan, like a cropped style. And from what I can work out from the other ones that I've seen knit, you start at one side and you knit to the centre, and the same on the other way. I could be totally wrong on this, don't take it as right, I've not made it, but I think you join it on the back. But like I say, I could be completely wrong on that, but it's beautiful. And then if you've got a main skein, you'd use that for the ribbing as well. Isn't it gorgeous? I really, really like this one. I was adamant last year that this one was going on my list for this year. And I've just got so many on my list. I don't know what I'm going to make yet, but I really, really would like to make this. It's just beautiful. So I don't quite know what I'm making yet. There's just too many to choose from, which is the whole point of this video. So moving in to pattern number 5, I actually started this last year. It is the Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart. I started this last year. It's a fabulous, fabulous pattern, and in true Helen Stewart style, the thing that I like more about her patterns is you don't need a row counter, because she will give a checklist so you can just tick off each row as you do it, and she will put percentages in it so you know how far you are. The only reason I didn't finish this last year was because I had a 10-gram advent calendar and it was just coming up a tad too small. I do think it would work better with a 20-gram advent calendar, but it is beautiful. So again, this was on my list that I was definitely going to do this year, but we shall see. So this is the Habitation Throw. Isn't it gorgeous? It's just beautiful. I love the eyelets. It gives it that lovely squishy feel. And when you're knitting, especially if you're doing a blanket and you're knitting on something each day, you don't realise how much knitting you've done, because you've just been squirreling away each day, just enjoying the process, enjoying the moment. And before you know it, 24 days later, you have got a fabulous, fabulous pattern. So I really, really like that. Now, the next pattern I have here to actually show you. So the next one is by the same designer. It is the Anthology Throw by Helen Stewart. Now, this one is part of this year's Knit Vent collection. So in order to have this pattern, you're going to need to buy the entire collection. If you've been watching any of my podcast episodes, you will know that I have done nothing but rave about this collection since it came out on the 27th of October. It's fabulous. For that ebook, you get 6 patterns. We're still receiving patterns. The event hasn't finished yet. I think we have one more week to go. And I have loved every single pattern, and it is well worth. It's £18 for the collection on this, but for 6 patterns, I think that's brilliant. So this was the first Knit Vent window number 1. Now, a lot of my friends have saved this for Advent. Me being me, the child that I am, I couldn't save it. So I've done a scrappy version. And, oh my word, I will show you the picture first. So here it is. It's very similar to the Habitation Throw, which I've just shown you, but this is a circular version. Would you like to see my version that is finished and flocked, I might add? Just pop my notes down. Are we ready? This is my version. It is beautiful. I'm going to have to stand up to show you. And it's huge. It's just gorgeous. So obviously this one I have made. Now, it does have a tricky cast on, which I didn't even attempt. There is a tutorial for this cast on, which I would recommend that you do because you really should follow patterns properly, which I never do. Whenever it comes to a tricky cast on, I was the same with the Musselburgh hat. I just thought, I'll just cast on magic loop, use the tail to sew up the hole and it'll be fine, and it always is. So that's how I cast it on. But there is a tutorial for this cast on. I knit this on magic loop and I got to about here. I had a 50-inch cable and I was able to come off magic loop really quite quickly. The whole project has been amazing. I have raved and raved and raved about this project. It's beautiful and well worth it. So we all love Helen Stewart patterns again because they are just fabulous, and the Radvent collection is well worth the investment of £18. It really is, for the patterns that you get. If you've watched any of my podcast episodes recently, you'll know that I've also made the hat as well, which was supposed to be a gift knit and I ended up keeping it because this is me, but I'll make it again. But yeah, I blocked this yesterday. Now, some of you may be worried about how you would block this. My friend Mandy said to me, fold it in half and block it that way, which is exactly what I did. So all I did to block it was I folded the whole blanket in half and I pinned it out that way, which was much easier and it blocked lovely. So that is pattern number 6. Pattern number 8 is the Litmus cowl. It does say on Ravelry Amy Florence, but we all know this is our lovely, lovely Jude. It is a fabulous pattern. This is a free pattern. Again, it's a knit, and this is the Litmus cowl. I have made a similar version of this, and if I'd have seen this one, I would have much preferred to make this one because mine's not as nice as this, the version that I've made. So basically what you do with this is you make a really long tube, like a giant sock. You'd start with a provisional cast on, and then you'd knit a giant long tube. All of your ends are inside, so there's no weaving in of the ends. You'd knit your giant tube and then you join the ends together, and then you would fold it around to get a gorgeous, gorgeous squishy cowl. There's somebody at the door, 1 second. Sorry about that, somebody knocked on the door, how rude. So yeah, basically you will knit your giant long tube, all of your ends are inside, you join the ends together and you just wrap it round, and it's the cosiest thing ever. So this is the Litmus cowl by our wonderful, wonderful Jude, and it's a free pattern as well. So the next one is by Lisa K. Ross. This is called Fade into Advent, and it is $7, and oh my word, I only found this the other day. Oh my word, it's gorgeous. You ready? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That is the squishiest, gorgeousest, is gorgeousest even a word? But the most lovely, squishable wrap. Isn't it beautiful? I absolutely love that one. So by the looks of it, it fades into the centre on each side, or out from the centre on each side. Not one that I've made, but it looks beautiful. So that is the Fade into Advent. I think that is gorgeous. I really do. I could see myself wrapped up in that. And number 9 is the Sugar Plum Fairy Shawl. I saw this when I was looking a couple of weeks ago at Advent projects. Oh my God. So it's the Sugar Plum Fairy Shawl, Advent Shawl by Crystal T Knits, and it is $7.50. It's got eyelets, which I love. It makes a gorgeous squishy project. And oh my God, I'll just show you. Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? And you can see here all the different versions of that. Isn't it gorgeous? I absolutely love it. So pattern number 9. And pattern number 10 is a crochet blanket. So I do not think there are enough crochet advent projects around. I really don't. And when I came across this one, this designer had said the same thing. There are plenty of knit patterns, but there are not enough crochet patterns. So this designer had made this for that reason. We all love a crochet blanket. If I'm making a blanket, crochet is my go-to. A, because it's quicker. B, it doesn't feel like such a huge project, which the Anthology's throw has taught me different on that. That was not a too big a project. That was just perfect. But it's just beautiful. So I'm going to stop talking about it, and actually I'm just going to show you it. Look at that. Isn't it gorgeous? It's got the gorgeous ripple effect, which is beautiful. And who doesn't love a crochet blanket? It is just gorgeous. And I really do think we need more crochet projects. I really love that one. That one is a contender for me this year. It really is. I have no idea what I'm going to make yet. So that is my top 10. There are two bonus ones. So I was watching the lovely Sandra at the Cherry Heart podcast a couple of days ago, and I can't show you a picture. I don't have one. The pattern is not out yet, but she'd said she was going to bring it out in time for Advent. I will link in the description box below to that video, and it is the most gorgeous scarf in true Sandra style. Sandra at Cherry Heart does a lot of crochet projects, and they are always beautiful, and this one is certainly no exception. So as much as I can't show you this, I really did wanted to include it because it's just fabulous, and it's definitely on my top 10 list. It's just gorgeous. So I'm going to put a link down below in the description box to that episode of Sandra's, so you can go and have a look. She gives more details in that video about when the pattern will come out. So although I don't have it to show you, it did need to be included in that. And the last, I can put my iPad down now. The last bonus is one of my patterns. There is no pattern for this. There is a tutorial for this. If you go onto my YouTube page and look at tutorials, you will see a tutorial for the C2C blanket. I will put a picture here of mine that I did last year. I made this last year, and it's the most gorgeous pattern. I have another one which is a work in progress, which I'm going to show you now. I don't have the original anymore, so I've had to start another one to get it. So I've started another one. I'm not doing it for Advent this time because I did it last year and I don't want to do the same thing again. So I'm just making this as I go. So it's all little tiny corner to corner squares that you will just join as you go. That's where it comes from. C2C, join as you go. So what you do, you can see here, I'm at the end of a strip. So I would join my yarn in here, and then there's a hair there, that's one of my hairs. You crochet up and down, up and down, up and down until you've got your square and it's joined on. This takes 20 gram minis. Now the version that I made, I'll pop the picture back up on the screen. I did it 7 blocks wide by 10 blocks long, and it was a little short. So I'm going to make it bigger this time. So I'm going to hopefully go for 10 by 12 maybe. And this is just my long-term project. I will say with this project, you do need to be on top of your ends. You do get a lot of ends. So you can see here I've got a few dangling out. So all I do is I pop a stitch marker on to mark my right side of the work, and then I weave in the ends on the wrong side. But it's absolutely beautiful. So that is my new version of that. And if you wanted to do it for an Advent project, obviously you would get a smaller blanket, which would be 24 blocks wide. You could use that for a cushion cover, or you can just add to it. That's why I popped it as a bonus, because it's not an Advent project, but it's a great scrappy project. So you could just continue after Advent, pop an advent into it, add some scraps, or do whatever you wanted. But I did think it needed included because it was a really lovely project to do, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed making mine last year. So that is my top 10 pattern roundup for Advent. I hope that some of you have found some inspiration there and maybe some new patterns that you weren't aware of to knit, and I hope that you all enjoyed this episode. There is going to be another episode next week which is going to be aimed at quick gift makes. If you're like me and you're behind with gift knit season, you may want some quick gift knits or crochet makes. So I'm going to be talking through some of those next week. I've only made one gift knit so far this year, and it is the hat. If you watched the last podcast episode, I talked about it in depth on that. I made it as a gift. I kept it for myself, which is really naughty, so I've got to make another one. So maybe that episode will be of interest to some of you if you're looking for some quick gift knit ideas. So I hope that you all enjoyed. I hope that you're all having a lovely crafty week, and I will see you again soon.